Joe Rogan and Bert Kreischer have one of the most confusing relationships in modern podcasting. On one hand, they're best friends, regular guests on each other's shows, seen together on tour, bonded by over a decade of shared stand-up history. But on the other hand,
Based on Bert Kreischer.
Isn't that nuts?
That's so crazy.
Isn't that nuts? It's literally a movie based on Bert. It really is.
Yeah.
Like they wrote a story about it for Rolling Stone magazine.
The original title was The Interruption.
Ah! It reminds me of me.
Wait. Secret time.
You guys have such good Bert.
to many fans, it sounds like less playful riffing and more like genuine disgust. So the question becomes, does Joe Rogan actually like Bert Kreischer? Or is this all just tough love masked as a podcast banter? This is the story of Joe Rogan and Bert Kreischer, a story about fame, masculinity, and one-sided friendship. Bert Kreischer is America's drunk uncle. He first gained notoriety in the late 90s after Rolling Stone dubbed him the top partier at the #1 party school in the country. The article became the basis for the movie Van Wilder. But Bert's biggest breakthrough came years later, when a stand-up bit titled The Machine went viral.
You gotta realize though, the reason they loved me is I went shot for shot with him that night, all night long, until like 4 in the morning. But all I... shuts the door in her face and goes, "Fuck that bitch, this is Russia."
It was chaotic, hilarious, and the perfect embodiment of Bert's brand. A shirtless, beer-guzzling storyteller who seemed to thrive on self-destruction. He leaned into that image. Late-night shows, sold-out tours, a Netflix special titled Secret Time, then another called Hey Big Boy, and eventually a feature-length movie based on the machine itself. But behind the scenes was a personality that some found grating. Loud, rambling, always interrupting, and perpetually drunk. To some listeners, Bert was comedy gold. To others, including, it seemed, Joe Rogan, he was a train wreck they couldn't look away from.
The greatest form of affection you can give another comedian is to give them shit.
Yeah.
Right? But that's also, you also can get a temperature of how they're truly responding to it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like you guys pick on Bert and everything, but like if you got a sense that it was truly hurting his feelings, you would be more constructive about it.
Yes, for sure.
You know what I mean?
For a little bit, and then go right back to it.
Then you go back.
If Bert Kreischer is chaos incarnate, Joe Rogan is the complete opposite. A formal martial artist turned Fear Factor host turned podcast juggernaut. Rogan has built an empire around discipline, health, and relentless self-improvement. He wakes up early to train jiu-jitsu, hunts his own food, microdoses psychedelics, and reads. And more than anything, he hates excuses. So naturally, Bert Kreischer drives him
No
insane.
benefit for Garth to go on the podcast.
Incorrect.
He'll start selling
Incorrect.
off
First
theaters.
of all, they're very nice people. Both Tom and Christina are
Hold
very
on.
nice
I'm
people,
gonna be
and they'll
devil's
be
advocate.
very.
I'm gonna be
Hold-
devil's
Shut
advocate.
the f up for a second, and they'd be happy to have Garth on and be nice to him and explain, we're sorry if this hurt your feelings, but if he went on your podcast, I think it would turn around.
It-
For
1,000%
Tom.
would,
For
I-
Tom. No.
for
But,
Garth.
No,
but
he's
hold
right.
on,
He's-
Garth.
I'll tell you why.
Hang
I'll
on,
tell you
hang
why.
on. I'm gonna be. You
Why
guys are
can't you
all
let him talk for a second?
because
No, it's his turn. It's Bert's turn and
Are you
then
sure?
Tom.
yeah.
Yeah, I think so. You shut him up now.
There
He,
is
now he shuts him
nothing
up, and then you'll
to-
shut me up.
But he
Nothing
sh-
benefits
talked
Garth
over
in
him while he
this.
was talking.
There's nothing that benefits Garth in this. I'm just being real.
The two met on an LA comedy circuit in the early 2000s. Their paths intersected often, but the real dynamic between them emerged on the Joe Rogan Experience, where Bert became a frequent guest. Each episode followed a pattern. Bert would show up, probably hungover. He'd brag about drinking 9 beers on a Tuesday, and Joe would respond with brutal honesty. Sometimes it was funny, sometimes it was uncomfortable, but over time, fans began to ask the obvious questions.
I wonder how long you can do that for.
I mean,
How long can you do that for?
yeah, he does it, and then you know what'll happen is like, so he's like, whatever, real crazy right now, and we'll see him in like a month, and he'll be like, "Oh yeah, my other favorite phrase." He's like, "I quit drinking." I go, "When?" He goes, "Wednesday." And I'm like, "But it's Friday." He's like, "I know, but it's like 48 hours, nothing." I'm like, "That's not
That's a normal
that's
person.
not how that term works." And he's like, but so he'll get to a certain point here where he'll be like, "I got to clean it up," and he'll just like really clean it up, you know, like won't drink for a while, clean up the diet. You'll see him just like thin out.
He takes a picture on Instagram.
Takes a good picture,
Sucks his gut in.
sexy picture.
This is me now.
And then you'll be like, "Oh, you're
3 weeks
good."
later, huge.
Yeah, it's a cycle.
3 weeks later, I see him waddle through the green room at the mothership. I'm like, what the dude? The are you doing?
I know.
He goes hard.
He goes hard, dude. He goes hard. I've been going hard with eating just super clean.
To understand the tension between Rogan and Kreischer, you only need to watch a few podcast clips. You could argue it's just friendly roasting, but there are moments where the tone shifts, where Rogan's laughter fades and genuine frustration bubbles up. Like the time Bert claimed he drank healthier because he chose a light beer, or when he bragged about running a 5K while still pounding IPAs. It stopped being banter and started sounding like a lecture. The most infamous chapter in the Joe Bert saga is Sober October, a challenge started by Joe, Bert, Tom Segura, and Ari Shaffir to take a month off of drinking and focus on fitness. In theory, it was a fun way to hold each other accountable. In reality, it nearly broke Bert Kreischer. He constantly cheated, lied about the rules, and made excuses. At one point, he faked workouts and lied about stats. Joe was furious.
And they did the billboard, and I go, "That's not my stomach. My stomach's tight." And it was complete.
You have the craziest, most delusional perspective.
I think I have body
fucking-
dysmorphia.
The text message you sent us the other day, I could do more push-ups than anyone in this group.
I
You
looked at
thought
the
your belly
moles.
was smaller than that?
That's me at like 220.
Right, but you, at the time, thought your belly was smaller than that.
I thought I was in great shape. I have legit great shoulders, like great shoulders. Yeah,
No, you don't.
Joe, they're ripping through this shirt right now.
Yeah, but you say
No, you
things
just
and you
bought
don't
a
really
boy's
mean
shirt.
it, right? Like
No, I
when you
kinda mean
say
it. I
things
kinda
and you
mean
know
it.
they're
I
not
told you.
true.
I
kinda
told
He
you.
does mean it.
He's
I kinda
kind
mean
of
it.
joking, and
I
I
kinda
kind of
mean
mean
it.
it, which means he means it.
But
kinda
you
mean
say,
not joking.
but you say things you know aren't true. Like, you remember that one time you said you could do the split?
The audience could feel the tension. What started as a fun challenge became a pressure cooker. And by the time October ended, it wasn't even clear if their friendship would survive another round. By this point, the internet had fully leaned in. Reddit conspiracies, TikTok edits, Twitter threads. Some claim Joe resented Bert's success despite his laziness. Others thought Joe envied Bert's ability to relax. One viral theory, Joe sees Bert as the version of himself that didn't do the work. It was projection, judgment, maybe even a little fear, and fans weren't done dissecting the drama. Bert eventually addressed the speculation on his own podcast. He was asked if Joe actually hated him. His answer? Awkward, rambling, half joke, half truth.
Gonna fight you.
Oh, a million times. I've had you a million times. First Sober October, I thought he was like livid with me because I was challenging. I was talking. He did this video. I thought it was funny. He did a video where he was like, "Sober October." And, it's Joe. He's all positive. I'm out here. I'm really getting after it on the hills. I'm doing 2 miles, and I got my dog Marshall with me. What's up, Marshall? So I did a copy video. I was like,
That's so funny, though.
I go, I saw you, Rogan. I saw you do 2 miles. Every 2 miles you do, I do 4 miles. And I brought my dog too. Priscilla, well, where's my dog? I thought it was a joke, right? All Rogan heard was, you do 2, I do 4. Rogan goes, F it, I do 10.
Yeah,
and then the next day, I think he did like 20 miles of just running on treadmills. And I was like, wow.
But he also admitted that the comments bothered him, that being the butt of the joke wasn't always fun, and that sometimes it felt like he was on the outside looking
I'll
in.
tell you the most human thing about him is that he reads negative comments. Like when you see that he gets
records them.
he gets upset about them.
He
and-
listens to them when he runs.
Wow.
but like
drives
that's where I connect with the guy.
Nice.
Where I go,
like that.
I go,
That's pretty
who would
wild,
ever
yeah.
hate on David Goggins? Like
Marines.
that guy's
Listen,
nothing but inspiration.
You gotta
on
let
me.
that go. There's people that are gonna hate on every thing that has ever existed, and it's not.
To be fair, Joe Rogan has defended Bert on multiple occasions. He's praised his stand-up, he's admired his work ethic, he's even called him one of the funniest dudes on the planet. And that might be the whole point. To Rogan, Bert isn't a clown. He's a tragedy waiting to happen. And the tough love, it's just that. Love.
This is a trap. It's a velvet prison. These TV shows are a velvet prison.
And you're like, dude, this is who you are. F that Travel Channel bullshit. Get away from it. You need to focus on stand-up in your podcast.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. And you're like, you're the fucking machine. If you don't talk about this on stage, then you're not doing yourself. You're doing yourself a disservice.
So does Joe Rogan hate Bert Kreischer? No. But does he respect him? That depends. Their friendship is a reflection of two totally different lifestyles. One built on discipline and the other on chaos. And when those worlds collide, the result is part comedy, part therapy. What we see might look like resentment, but it's probably just brutal honesty between two guys who care too much to stay quiet. Or maybe Joe really does hate Bert. Only they know the truth. Thanks for watching. If you guys haven't seen my last video on Shannon Sharp, I beg you guys to please go watch that video. Probably one of my best videos I've ever done. Or you can watch the last video on Shador Sanders. That's also a really good video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you guys think Joe Rogan hates Bert Kreischer? Do you think this is all just made up propaganda? Let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch y'all on the next one.